Thank you for coming, all of you. You see, I just keep talking here. So, thank you very much for coming tonight. I hope you do enjoy the dinner, and the company, and the music, and the wine is okay. So we do have now, with dessert, 3 very interesting wines. We do have some wines which did have a pretty tough birth. So last year has been very interesting in selecting certain berries for certain dessert wines. So what we did is actually, we did harvest the clusters. So Peter Martini, thanks to him on the vineyard part, So Peter did bring the grapes in. Grapes which have been at least 50%, 50+% affected by noble rot, which looks almost kind of like when you go to Wegmans or any grocery store, it looks like raisins. Tastes like raisins, smells like raisins, and you can actually make pretty good wine out of it. So what we did actually is we did bring those grapes in, we store them in the cool room, and then we have had like 12, 13, 14 people at times here standing around a stainless steel sorting board, and then we have been sorting for almost a week just single berries. So starting in the morning at 8, 8:30 till 6, 6:30 in the evening, and so almost a week of sorting for the Vignoles. We call it Trockenbeeren, so the traditional TBA style, which you would call it in Germany, same to the Riesling. And so those 2 wines, when you go in and you will see them, they are 100% just raisins. And then the Riesling, the Berry Selection grade, is pretty much about 65 to 70% just those noble rot berries. So what you would do is then you would sort them, you would, if you're crazy enough, you would jump with your feet on it, so you would actually macerate them with your boots, feet, so you would go into the bins, would crush them this way, simply to get the rest of the juice you have in the berries, in some of the berries, back as uniform as you can into all these raisiny berries. And of course, the system is pretty much, you just have to imagine, once the berry is healthy, you have pretty good water content, you have flavor, you have acid, you have many of different components. And once you lose this water part, whatever is in the berry, whatever else is in the berry, is getting concentrated. So that's why it is important to have already a pretty good sugar level, a pretty good maturity level to start out with, before those berries would get affected by the noble rot, by the fungus botrytis. And then through the loss of liquid, you would have this concentration. So the longer you keep it on the vine, the longer the weather is playing a good role, means no rain, the more you would see the sugar concentration going up. So at the end then you would sort those single berries, you would make a visual check, would actually taste them also, would smell them for potential off aromas, and then, yeah, as I mentioned, you would sort single berries. So it means you can imagine you have just a very small volume at the end. And then after a bit short of a week, we have had then this Riesling, we call it Trockenbeeren, as I said, which is the first time that we have something like this. And we have had also a Vignoles and a Riesling at Berry Selection grade. And to give you an idea about sugar, I don't want to bore you too long. The Vignoles was at past 40 bricks sugar at harvest time. So it means you can imagine it's like close to half what you have is pretty much just natural sugar, berry sugar. The Riesling was at 39, which is also very, very high, and the Berry Selection Riesling, third dessert one we have in the selection series, was at about 33. So then, of course, after crushing them, you would press them, you would have like a juice, and I shouldn't tell you because you wouldn't want to taste it afterwards. But the juice, once you press the juice looks like mud. If you as kids used to play in the mud and just got dirty and got back to mom and mom was yelling at you, that's the way this juice looks like. So thick and muddy and brown. Of course, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and what you would want to do, or what we do actually, is then we send it through a filter. So we send it through a filter system which cleans then this mud up into an actually very clear juice level. It looks almost like apple juice then. And then you would start fermenting it. And so it's a pretty labor-intense process. It's actually also a very rare situation, because many years you don't get this amount of good rod, noble rod. And in some years, like past year, it's been just perfect. So that's why we all did help together and did make the best we could. And now the baby is sleeping in the tank. Some of it is down here tonight. So it's not bottled yet. We hope to bottle it within the next 2 to 3 months.
You have to use a different...
Actually, no. Now it's getting scientific. Oh. we actually do use, I used to actually Riesling yeast as a day too. The interesting part is one of my former bosses back in Germany. So the gentleman asked, because this environment for the yeast is very hard to work it, to pretty much like, or like one of my winemaking guys would say, eat the sugar and poop alcohol. So it's very hard of an environment, because it's very viscous. The osmotic pressure is very high. So, but I use the regular yeast. I just once in a while have some dried yeast on the top of it, so it keeps just going slow and regular. So, and now it's of course so this wine will age very well. So those wines you are going to taste are still very young, so they're still very bright, almost like teenager. One of those guys, the Vignoles, always likes to show its muscles. It's one of the loud guys in class. If you have 30 people in class, there are always 2 or 3 guys who want to show off. So the Vignoles is somebody who shows off. And then you will see maybe like some people at class, you don't really notice them, but you have to look 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, because they show a lot of depth. They may be more quiet up front, but once you keep tasting, you can see the beauty. So the Vignoles is a showy guy, and the Rieslings a little bit more introverted right now, laid back, exactly. But you can see, hopefully, the great potential. Wines like those could be easily ageable for 20 plus years, 30 years in some cases, or even longer. It depends how patient you are. Also, it depends how you store them. It depends how many manufacturers, but in the best case, they would be ageable very well, very long. So enough of talk. I'm going to get those babies down now, and then hopefully shortly we have the dessert and those new dessert wines ready for you. Thanks.